No, it's David.
Okay, go ahead,
David.
David.
Number one, if they don't want to wear a mask, well, I'll just get away from them and just avoid what we call trying to get sick. That's what I'll do.
You'll just respect them not wearing a mask and say, okay, I'm the one that's going to leave. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And then I think we have Mr. Lewis who wanted to answer as well.
Yeah. I would say I'll either tell them to wear it, or basically just social distance from them, but not go away from them. Just don't stay near them too much, or tell the teacher.
Okay, yes. This is great information that they're sharing with us this morning, guys. And let's see here. The question again was, what should I do if my friend doesn't want to wear a mask? And I thought I saw one additional hand. Okay, but I don't see it. Okay. If anyone else would like to answer that question, please feel free to raise your hand and then unmute yourself. Okay, so we have Ms. Jordan. Go ahead. Jordan, I can't hear you.
She might be frozen.
Yeah.
Oh. She usually has computer problems during class, so it might be something with that.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Jordan, we can't, you're frozen, so.
Jordan, you can put your question in the chat. I am monitoring the chat, and I'm writing down everything that comes through the chat, so you can put it in there, and then we'll address it.
Okay, so our third question, and I don't see any other hands, just for time because we're midway here. How do I manage stress when transitioning back to school? How do I manage stress when transitioning back to school? So guys, that is actually a kind of a special question because I know during one of our student advisory council meetings, that was definitely one of the questions. So I'm very interested to hear what you guys what answers you have. So we're going to start with Shiloh. If you can lower your hand and then unmute yourself. And the question again was, how do I manage stress when transitioning back to school?
One way you can manage stress is you can have some people have a stress ball or something that they can fidget with, so they don't become stressful when they're doing the work and stuff. So that's what I would request.
So one of those little balls that you hold in your hand that have the squishy. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Either the squishy Orbeez stuff or just the hard squish balls. So that's what I would recommend for anyone who has stress.
Great suggestion. Okay. So next we have, let's see, Shiloh. That was Shiloh. So let's go to Lewis. Looks like is next. Lower your hand and then unmute yourself, Lewis.
So I'll say eat gum, to calm down. Just eat gum because it takes stress away, or either just drink some soft water. Don't overstress yourself with eating. Just calm down.
Now, Lewis, my best friend is actually a clinical psychologist, and she has shared with me that you cannot be stressful when you're chewing gum. So that's very interesting that you said that. She shared that with me, and I actually laughed. So thank you for sharing that. That's actually a great suggestion. Thank you. Now we have Sydney B. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lewis. Go ahead.
It's because of the gum's mint or whatever flavor it is. That's why.
Oh, I laugh, but you're sharing it as well. Thank you. So Sydney, I'm gonna ask that you lower your Sydney B, lower your hand, and then unmute yourself.
Okay, so another thing you can do is you can talk to friends or teachers about your stress and see if they your friends, they can talk to you about it and help you with whatever you're stressing out about. And your teachers, they can also help you about it. So that's what I would do if I were them. I would talk to teachers and friends and take one day to like relax or something, get like a massage or something, and that might release some stress. But that's probably what I would do.
Well, Sydney, the other day I was talking to a friend that I hadn't spoken to in a while, and I shared with her during this pandemic, I've spoken more with my friends and shared with them than I've done in a very long time. Just having that peer support. So absolutely, I totally agree. We have, I think, Ritika. I may be saying your name wrong, but if you could lower your hand and then unmute yourself.
Can you hear me? One thing I would do is look up familiar. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. It's a little mute, muffled.
We can hear you. It's a little mute, muffled, but we can hear you. Okay. One thing I would do is look at a familiar face, like a friend you've known for a really long time, and just keep with him until you're more comfortable to be without your friend. Like, just look for a familiar face and yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to try to paraphrase here, but suggested that you look for your friends, familiar faces, and basically try to speak with them, and just try to manage that stress and discuss what's going on. I'm going to listen to Quincy. I think that you have your hand up, so lower your hand and then unmute yourself. But then I'm going to share some things that we actually talked about in the student advisory as well.
Okay, so what I would do is I would focus on the positive. So, say I'm at school and I'm afraid to catch COVID, I'm gonna focus on the positive, saying, well, I do get to see all my friends. I get to get a better learning experience, getting to see my teachers and actually see someone in person. And I would also maybe talk to a counselor.
Oh, wonderful! Great advice. Great advice. So I said I wanted to share with you guys about some of the topics within the student advisory group, and that was actually one of them about managing stress. And some of the students suggested that we have 5 minutes or 5-10 minutes before the start of the day, and it's an open session where everybody speaks of what's going on with them during this pandemic to get feedback. Maybe there's someone in their classroom that experienced something similar to what they're going through and just basically share. Now, there may be opportunities where there needs to be a one-on-one group where, I think Quincy just suggested that we speak to a counselor. So maybe if it's something really that maybe a professional needs to come in and help speak to you about it, suggesting that we have a professional, but basically sharing our thoughts and our ideas with others in our group. Okay? I do see Caleb, would like to share an answer. So go ahead and unmute yourself, lower your hand for me. And after Caleb, we'll go on to our fourth question for the interest of time.
Oh, my bad. I was going to ask a question.
Oh. Do you want to post your question in the chat for me and we'll address it at the end?
All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for the interest of time, guys, let's see. We're going to go to our last question, which is, what can I do to contribute to a safe school environment? So please raise your hand. What can I do to contribute to a safe school environment? Caleb, your hand is still raised. Is that a question you want to answer? Okay, there we go. Would anyone like to answer that? Raise your hand. Let's see, Shiloh. Hello, Shiloh. Go ahead and lower your hand and unmute yourself.
One thing that you could do to contribute to a school environment is you could give the school some wipes and masks, gloves.
So continue to contribute to the PPE, correct?
Yeah.
To the personal protective equipment. Okay. Wonderful. Does anyone else want to contribute? What can I do as a student to contribute to the safe schools environment? like to share?
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat and I am writing them down, but in the interest of time, we can't answer them all right now. But I will be bringing some of these to our upcoming meetings and will do my best to get them back to you.
Thank you. Now, I do see that we have Caleb Bush has their hands up again. If you would like to unmute yourself and then lower your hand.
I was gonna say the way to is help out. Let's say donate any kind of hand sanitizer, disinfectant that would, I guess, keep the area clean, or just to sanitize the area.
Keep sanitizing your area, like your personal space. Keep it sanitized. Agreed, definitely. Kaylin, if you can unmute yourself and lower your hand for me.
Okay, I know this might not be helpful, but I feel like not going to make it better because it's still a problem.
So you're saying, and guys, did you hear that? She's saying not to even come. Just stay your distance, and that is definitely a choice, right? I do want to remind you that remind students that returning to school is an option, and you should definitely discuss those options with your parents or your guardians. But definitely, that is definitely a way of keeping the school safe. Now, I do want to, before we actually, CC, I will recognize you in a second here. I just want to remind you guys to please visit the DeKalbSchoolsGA.org/school-reopening. Can you put that in the chat for me, Malia? It's DeKalbSchools with an S, GA.org/school-reopening. Do visit that frequently because there will be updates there as well. And I want to remind you that we definitely appreciate your input here today. And I do want to remind you that you can stay in the loop by following DeKalb Schools as told in the meeting today on their social media platform. Okay?
And that you can socially distance. So you keep that in mind when you talk about a problem. How are you going to socially distance in your cute dresses, my female girls, and men in your wonderful tuxedos? We have to take into account all of those factors so that we can provide the best.
Song for 20 seconds with soap. Hey, yo, man. I know you want to shake my hand. Come on, man. We don't do that no more. Give me 6 feet. I'd rather bump your elbows than shake your hand. You know what I mean? Paperback, textbook, home cooked meals. Can't wait until we start a brand new year. Now that that's here, here's a brand new cheer. And you can use this to take away your fears. 6 feet apart is 6 feet smart. Memorize that, then you'll get a healthy start. Put your mask on, set yourself apart. And wash your hands for the length of the birthday song. For 20 seconds with soap and running water. Wet wipes or tissue, that's thinking smarter. You should use a towel when you're cutting off the faucet. Gotta keep some hand sanitizer in your pocket, just in case the virus shooting off like a rocket. Gotta stay ready in case another outbreak. COVID-19 is a different beast. That's why we all gotta stay so fresh and so clean. All my people that's afraid of the coronavirus, feeling fatigue, got a breath of feeling tired. If you see somebody you know, wanna say hello, don't take your mask off, just breathe. And if you wanna stay clean and be germ-free, wake up and keep your eyes on the CDC. So give me personal space for about 6 weeks. So say what you say. If you see somebody you know and wanna say hello, don't take your mask off, just and if you wanna stay clean and be germ free, wake up and keep your eyes on the CDC. So give me personal space for about 6 feet, so don't touch me. Just wait and boom. Shout out DCSD, yeah, yeah. When you say hello, teacher, shake my hand, bro. Christmas, wait the phone. I don't know what else to say.
Good morning, and welcome to our student town hall featuring our superintendent, Ms. Cheryl Watson-Harris. Before I review our agenda, I would like to acknowledge and thank our school board members for their support. We have Ms. Vicki B. Turner, who is our board chair. Mr. John DaCosta is vice chair. Mrs. Anna Hill, Mr. Marshall Orson, Ms. Deidre Pierce, Ms. Allison Graverts, and Dr. Joyce Morley are all board members. So before I review our agenda for today, I would like to acknowledge and thank also our teams for their contributions to make this a great town hall meeting. You will see some of my team members later in the breakout sessions. And I also want to offer kudos to the Parent and Family Engagement team, Mrs. Marcia Coward, Richard Stevens, and Ann Ferreira for their technical support. We will also be joined by our colleagues, Ms. Stacy Stepney and our one of our Chief Academic Officers, Deputy Chief, Mr. Noel Malou. They both will share some valuable information that we hope will help ease your concerns, if you have any, about returning to school. This will most certainly be a packed hour with lots of information to process. So to learn more, we want to encourage you to visit our website on reopening schools, and that is www.dekalbschoolsda.org/school-reopening. So, my scholars, as we have started off with some music, what do we have on our agenda for you today? So I will start. Mrs. Watson-Harris will come and provide an overview of reopening our schools. We will talk about what you can expect when you come back to school. We will share with you the CDC, and I know you all have heard that word a lot, mitigation guidelines, so that we can all be safe. We know that many of you have done well in the virtual environment, but others may have been under some intense stress. So we want to share with you how we plan to support you when you return. We also have a few students who have sent us some questions that they will be asking. And finally, we will have an opportunity to break you all up into small groups so that you can hear more about how we plan to support you as we transition back to school. And during those small groups, you will also get an opportunity to ask questions. So right now, I am just honored to introduce our superintendent, Mrs. Cheryl Watson-Harris. Ms. Watson-Harris is a true champion for our students, and she is so excited to be meeting with our middle and high school scholars. She has been leading our district for almost 8 months now and has been working diligently to ensure that all our students have an equal access to a quality education. What I can tell you about her is that when she starts to talk about all of her scholars in the district, her face lights up with excitement. To our students, Ms. Watson Harris has also been out in our schools, making sure that things are in working order, and has even participated in what we call a day in the life, where she was a student sitting in the classroom experiencing what you will experience when you come back to school. So without any further ado, I am just excited to welcome our superintendent, Mrs. Cheryl Watson Harris.
Thank you, Dr. Moore Sanders. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, excellent. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, first and foremost, to our beautiful, beautiful DeKalb County School District scholars. I thank you so much, and I thank your teachers and your parents and whoever else made it possible for you to be in attendance today for prioritizing this time. As you know, this is probably our first student town hall with the superintendent and senior cabinet members, and we're just so excited to host this event for you, our scholars. We know we've been having many town halls and having many people talk about what's best for you, going back to school, not going back to school, in terms of face-to-face. But today, it's really all about you. This is your opportunity to hear from the leaders of our school system, the people who have the honor and the privilege of working on behalf of you. So this is your opportunity to ask us questions and to hear our plans, and undoubtedly for you to make suggestions and give feedback of things we haven't even considered. So thank you so much for being so brilliant and so bright and so fabulous, and we're really excited about spending time with you today. Dr. Moore Sanders gave a lot of shout outs to our board members. That's our Board of Education members, as well as the dynamic team of leaders and adults that work as a part of our leadership team. But I also wanted to shout out the members of the Superintendent Advisory Committee. And those are your peers that have an opportunity to meet with leaders in our school system every month. And I know Ms. Moname is on, and she's one of the people who really facilitates that meeting. But our Superintendent's Student Advisory Committee are the ones who really, on a regular basis, offer feedback to us, and were really instrumental in putting today's event together. So I just wanted to make sure that we gave them a shout out. Again, I'd like to thank Dr. Moore Sanders and her team, as well as the team from Family and Community Empowerment, for planning this event and facilitating the breakout sessions after the presentation. So you'll get a lot of information, and then just like we do in our meetings, you'll have an opportunity to break out and in smaller groups to ask more questions and to hear more information. So as mentioned, we have hosted town halls for your parents and your guardians, and our staff and other stakeholders on multiple occasions. And since we're beginning to phase in our scholars back to face on March 9th, can you believe that? It's like we're kind of closing out the school year, but it's the excitement of like the first day of school. I know everyone's going to get their haircuts and their outfits and their uniforms ready. It's so exciting. And we really want to make sure you have all the information you need to feel comfortable and confident. So we thought it was a wonderful idea. Many of the parents on our PACs suggested that we do this student town hall, and we heard them. We thought it was a great idea, and we're happy that we're able to do that. So we know that there's some questions that you submitted and things that you were wondering about, and I have been given those questions, and I would like to have the opportunity to respond to them. And I think they're all great questions. The first question, probably the most important one: are you required to return to school? Are you required to return to the buildings, we should say, because you've been in school and working very hard? The answer is no. You are not required to return to the building. This has to be a choice that you and your families make, and make sure that you make the right choice for your family. If you're ready to return to the building, then you may do so. Our first phase was making sure that our staff had a chance to come back and that they felt comfortable and supported in our school buildings. Our second phase, as you know, will begin on March 9th, where we will welcome our pre-K to 2, that's second grade students in our elementary schools, our 6th graders in our middle schools, and our 9th graders in high school. And that'll give all of our scholars who haven't really had a chance to get comfortable and familiar with their school buildings, this will give them an opportunity to get comfortable in those buildings and have a little bit of an orientation. So we're really excited about that. And then we'll move to phase 3. That's when all of the scholars in the remaining grades will have an opportunity to return to the buildings if that is what their families have chosen. Again, students, you will still have the option of virtual instruction if that is what your families have chosen. And we're going to continue to make sure that we're providing a high quality virtual option, even though some students will be returning face to face. The second question that I was given is, why are we not in the loop about what's going on? Oh, I love that question. And I'm sorry, scholars, that you have felt like you are not in the loop. Again, I have a superintendent's student advisory committee, and they continue to suggest additional ways that we can keep our scholars in the loop. And to that, we know communication is important, and we believe we can always improve. And we're going to really work hard to improve our communication with our scholars. One idea that's come up in my student superintendent advisory committee is maybe the idea of a student newsletter that comes directly from the senior cabinet. So we're going to continue to work with you scholars to get additional ideas of how we can keep you in the loop. Dr. Moore Sanders provided you with our Reopening School website, where you can find a wealth of valuable information. And I think that that's on the screen right now. Or you can simply go to our main website, which is www.decabschoolsga.org. And if you go onto our main website, you can click on the banner link and it will take you to whatever information you're looking for. You can also subscribe to my weekly superintendent's newsletter. And that's a newsletter that we send out almost every Friday. And it keeps you abreast, your parents and other community leaders, of all the things that are happening or the most critical things that are happening each week in our school district. Your school websites also have specific information that is specific to your school community. So don't forget to check your school's website. And most schools' websites also link you back to the main website because we're all connected and trying to make sure that we're all getting out the same information. We are also on social media. So if you want to follow the school district, DeKalb County School District, on Facebook or Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, just use our @DeKalb Schools handle to join any of those platforms and to receive regular updates. We send out important information also via text, email, and phone calls using our school messenger platforms. So we're trying super hard, scholars, to make sure we get you information in real time. We're also making sure that we're sending out information in 14 languages. So if you have suggestions about ways that we can continue to get information to you, please be sure to let us know. So the next question is, what about making sure our teachers are safe? And I love that question, especially coming from our scholars, that you're thinking about your teachers and the people who really are charged with supporting you on a day-to-day basis. And I want you to know, students, that all of the decisions that we've made have been led by our number one priority, and that's making sure that everyone, our students and our staff, can be safe in our environment. One of the reasons that we are so diligent in making sure we over communicate with our staff and our students and all of our stakeholders. We want to make sure that everyone has the information and knows exactly what to expect and what we're doing to make sure that you're safe. I hope you've been able to see some of the videos that we've made from the central office as well as your schools on what to expect once you get back to our buildings. You should also know that we've trained approximately a little over 30 of our school nurses who are going to be able to administer the vaccine. And we're super excited that our teachers have been elevated in terms of their access to the vaccine. And our teachers are trained, our nurses are now trained to administer the vaccine. And we're working with the DeKalb Board of Health to find the right locations and to make sure that we're able to support our teachers in this way. One of our teachers and staffs are also aware and have been following the CDC. That's the Center for Disease Control. You heard Dr. Moore Sanders speak about that earlier today, and the mitigation strategies to work hard on making sure that our buildings and our classrooms are safe for your return. And then lastly on that point, our buildings have been supplied with PPE, such as hand sanitizer, masks, and cleaning supplies. So you should know that your teachers have everything that they need to keep your classrooms very safe, and that you will have access to a mask every day if you forget to bring yours to school. And I know that that's hard in our new environment, making sure that you have your masks whenever you're leaving the house. But you should know that if you happen to forget one, that one will be available for you at school. And the last question is, some of us are unsure about coming back. What should we do? Well, that's a very special question, and it's going to be unique to each of you. I would say one of the things that I want you to know about Mrs. Watson-Harris is that in addition to being your superintendent, I'm also a mom. And I have a student that's in the 9th grade, and this is a conversation we had to have about whether he would be returning to face-to-face instruction. And naturally, he was also, kind of concerned about some things and kind of excited also about the opportunity. And so we've had to make the decision that's best for our family, but talking to him and making sure that he's comfortable and he knows what to expect as he returns to face-to-face instruction. So I can definitely understand the hesitation that some people may have. And we will respect whatever decision you and your families have to make. But I hope that you make an informed decision. That means don't base your decision on maybe rumors that you might hear about whether or not the buildings are safe. Do your own investigation. We've put so much information out there. You have videos of all of the preparation, so make sure you look at that. If your parents are particularly concerned about your specific school site, my recommendation would be for your parents to give your school a call. If they have a specific question, if you have some underlying condition, these are all things that your parents should reach out to your school to discuss. So again, boys and girls, those that will be returning to face-to-face, I'm going to try to get to as many schools as possible. I became your superintendent on July 1st, and I haven't been able to be in community with you other than in a platform such as this. So I'm super excited. I hope you recognize me when I have on my mask, because I won't be going anywhere without a mask, as I know you won't either. And those scholars who will be staying home, we will continue to think about ways to make the rest of your school year super special, and to ensure that you're receiving all of the academic supports you need to be successful. But now you'll hear from other members of the team. I'm so excited that I had the chance to be in community with you. But you'll hear from other members of our leadership team. These are the people who work closest with me at the central office, and they're going to give you specific details. I know you might be thinking about hallway transitions, food, how the classrooms will be cleaned, and what I'm hoping is that you're going to hear the consistency. As a mom, I know that we had a town hall with our school. We saw a video of what all these things look like specifically. And what I hope you see from this presentation is that it's not just your school. This is how we're supporting all of the schools across the district. But before we transition to Ms. Stepney is our Chief Academic Officer. She's the one that's responsible for making sure you learn exactly what you need to learn on each grade level. I would like to take just a moment if there are any questions from the chat. I know I've been talking a lot, so hopefully I've answered most of your questions or the things you've been wondering about. But I would love to just respond to any specific questions that you might have for me. And then after that, I believe we're going to watch a short video before Ms. Stepney then shares her presentation on what to expect when returning to school. So are there any specific questions for me?
Yes, we do have a few questions in the Q&A. One of them is, can we take a bus to school and take it back home? Is that option still available?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry, I don't know if can you hear me? Okay, it doesn't look like I'm on the screen. Yes, absolutely, boys and girls, and I'm not sure if Mr. Maloof is with us today or Mr. Estel, but we have a team that's working so hard to be able to provide your transportation to school. If you have not received that information, we have to make sure that you're getting that information. So please reach out to your school to find out about your transportation assignment, your bus stop, etc. But yes, you will have access to a bus. And I'm excited because this Friday I get to meet with our bus drivers. And I have to tell you, they are so excited to see our scholars who will be returning to school.
Good morning, Superintendent Watson Harris. The next question that we have to wrap things up is, are we going to allow the students to have extracurricular activities such as sports and cheerleading and things of that nature?
Thank you. What a great question. We've actually been allowing our students to participate in athletics since the summer. We've had to have some holds when the numbers were surging, but athletics have been in place since the summer, as I shared. We have to get creative about clubs and things like that. I know that this is also something that our Student Advisory Committee has raised multiple times, and so Ms. Moname, I hope you're hearing this as well, that we have to think about what is safe in terms of allowing students to participate in clubs. But right now, let's keep our focus on getting back into the buildings and making sure that we're safe and successful, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you for answering those questions. And students, you will have an opportunity to answer your questions, get your questions answered in the breakout room. So in just a few moments, you'll receive links for the breakout room.
Excellent. So now I think we turn it over to for a short video before Ms. Stepney presents.
Ms. Stephanie, if you are ready, we can begin.
Good morning to all of our scholars. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do realize that it is now class time, and I was actually reviewing the chat, and someone keeps asking, should we be here or be in class? Know that this is a special time that we have reserved just for you. Your principals are aware that you are attending the student town hall, so you will not be penalized. We need you as student leaders, so please continue to give us your feedback in the chat, and we are looking to make sure that we are addressing your comments. And students, I want to remind everyone that there is a quick poll that is showing up on the screen, and we want to hear from you, so please make sure you answer the poll questions. So I have the responsibility this morning to talk about what are we going to do to support you. There were questions from our students about the hybrid model. The hybrid model is simply stated as such. Students will return to school on different days of the week. So initially, we are going to stagger your return. The first week, as our superintendent stated, will be designed to help those students who potentially have never walked into their schools. They are new students to the middle school or even the high school. So the first week, we are allowing students to come in smaller groups so we can give them more of a personalized approach. The following week, students will come in based on their cohorts, and you will attend school for 2 days a week if your family has chosen for you to return. So you would attend school 2 days per week in person, and the remaining days, the other 2 days, would be virtual remote. Keep in mind that Wednesday is that special time that we have reserved for our students to have what we refer to as an Independent Learner Day. As part of your schedule, the Independent Learner Day will continue. We believe that this is a time when you as a student can request tutorial from your teacher. You can request to have an individual appointment, or maybe the teacher will invite you to participate in a small group instructional lesson. So this is your time to seek assistance. And we want you to remember that your schedule now will be a full schedule. So as you return back to school, whatever time the elementary school begins and ends, you will be with us. And we are going to have some new rituals and routines so we can make sure that everyone is safe. So for instance, how do we transition between classes? As you transition between classes, if you've had an opportunity to see some of the videos that your principals have produced with their respective staff members, your teachers, then you've seen how the hallways are marked. We have those social distancing markers in the hallway to remind all of us, not just students, but the adults too, that it's important that we maintain, to the greatest extent possible, social distancing requirements. And CDC says, or the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, states that it is 6 feet. And so in your hallways, the wide hallways, you're going to see these markers. And so your teachers will begin to guide you through how to navigate through the building. There are some schools in which you will have what we call a supervised break. A supervised break may mean students, a smaller group of students, will be escorted to those areas in which you will handle student business. For example, go into the bathroom, maybe go into your locker to retrieve something. So we are going to make sure that as you transition in the hallway, that we try to socially distance. And students, I have to say this being a former principal, we need you. You're most important in this process. You have to help us as student leaders. You have to help own that this is your school and that we all want to be safe. So we're counting on you to help us help you. And we are also going to be responsive. Let's talk about breakfast and lunch. Oh, those are important times of the day. So how will you have breakfast and lunch? That was a question presented by several of our students. And so we would like to share that breakfast and lunch, we have to give that to you as students. During this time, you will not be expected to pay for your meals. However, you may be required to provide additional information. For example, when you go to the lunch line to pick up your tray, your food, then there is a representative from the team who will do what we call a simple tally to make sure that you have been recorded as a student who has received a breakfast or a lunch. Some schools will begin with students eating in the cafeteria. Some will begin with eating in the classroom. It is really dependent on how many students are returning, but what we are doing is working to make sure that you can eat safely in an environment. We know that based on the guidelines that we've been provided, at that time, you will be able to remove your mask and eat. And once you have finished eating, you would safely put your mask back on and correctly wear your mask. as you transition to the next classroom activity or back to the classroom. So again, that's why it's important that we're bringing you in smaller cohorts. So your principals, your teachers can work with you on what is that routine. How are we going to go and get our breakfast, and how will we get our lunch? Oh my goodness, this last bullet, graduation. So all of our seniors who are out there, the class of 2021, yay! We are rooting for you. And at this time, we are planning an in-person graduation exercise. The information is posted on the district's website. And as Mrs. Watson-Harris challenged all of you, please keep in touch. Visit our website so you can find out the information. So if you go out on the website under the Graduation Central link, you will see that all graduations have been assigned a date, and they've also been assigned to a location, one of our stadiums. The James Hawford Stadium is our largest stadium in the district that will allow us to provide a more safe environment where we can socially distance and have spectators. So students, at this time, I think I have a question from one of your peers. Dr. Moore Sanders, I know on the next slide I have a young.
Hi, my name is Joshua Burdue. I attend Sequoia Middle School and I'm in 7th grade. My question is, how will teachers and staff ensure that everyone follows the mask and social distancing rules? Thank you.
I so appreciate this question from our student leader from Sequoia. This is what we call shared responsibility. Your teachers are expected and required to wear a mask, and so are students. If you do not have a mask, we have worked with our operations team. Our superintendent has made sure that we have an abundance of supplies to support our students. So if a student forgets a mask, you will be given one when you arrive at school. And these masks meet the mandates of the Centers for Disease Control, and you will be able to safely put that mask on and continue throughout the day. As far as social distancing, again, we have to rely on our markers in the hallway, and we also have to have a sense of this is our experience. So we have to remind our friends, and we have to say, you know what, I can talk to you from your circle. Please stand on your circle so that we can practice social distancing. And your teachers, we have worked with them to make sure that we are not being punitive. This is our experience together. So we will be supporting, coaching, and modeling so that students understand the expectations. Thank you so much for your question. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Moore Sanders.
Know how to wear your face mask correctly. First, wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds or use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Put your face mask over your nose and mouth and secure it under your chin. If the mask has loops, hook them around your ears. If it has ties, secure